guys, Arwen here. So today I want to talk to you about what to do when you are in a downward spiral and how to get yourself out of that and how to make choices that can bring you to a new place. So I was talking to a client today and she was extremely freaked out about this thing happening that may or may not happen. And, you know, as we were talking and as we were going through the layers of the information, it was very clear that the thing that she was worried about, which was possibly losing her house because her husband might lose his job, it was very much in particle. Like it was very much like in this like wavy state, right? It hadn't collapsed in on a particle. It was like a probability, but it definitely wasn't guaranteed. I couldn't even tap into whether or not that was going to happen because it wasn't in physicality enough, right? So what I want to tell you guys is that when you are in fear and you are freaking out about something, you are staying in a vibration that is like down here. And when you're down here, the thing that we as humans usually do is we focus on the problem, right? We focus on how bad it is and, oh my God, what are we going to do? So a lot of times, if you're in a situation that's like hard, you don't know how to move through it, you're probably paralyzed, right? So you can, fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, all right? So I could feel like my client was like frozen. I was like, girl, you got to get unfrozen here, right? So you always have choices. Even when you feel like you have no choices, there are choices. They're probably in front of your face, but you can't see them because you're frozen. So in order to get unfrozen, what you have to do is go into the fear, go into the thing that like the worst case scenario that could possibly happen. And I know that seems contradictory because like, the law of attraction stuff on the internet, everybody's like, oh, you need to just focus on good things because you're going to create what you're focusing on, which is true. However, when you're having like some large scale fear that's like consuming your life, ignoring it isn't going to make it go away. It's kind of like the monster under the bed scenario, okay? So the monster under the bed, like if you're scared of the monster, meaning the fear, you don't want to look at the monster, so you try to do everything except look at the monster, you're never actually going to see that the monster isn't there. So when you're in terror and you're freaking out and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You need to look at the monster under the bed, all right? Because when you look at it, you're going to see it's actually not that bad. Either the monster's smaller than you thought it was, or there isn't even a monster there in the first place. So you know how when, I've never seen this, but I've heard of it. When animals go into shock or they have some like difficult thing happen where like they almost die or something almost eats them, how they'll like shake. They'll shake to get like the terror and get those things out of their body. We as humans don't just stop, drop, and shake, okay? But you need to do that if you have a level of like fear and anxiety gripping your body. You have got to get that energy out of the cells of your body. You are going to manifest what you are, not what you want. You're going to manifest what you are. You're going to manifest what your vibrational signature is. You're going to manifest, what the energy conglomeration, figuration of your energy field is. That is what you're going to manifest. So if you have all this trauma and all this fear and all this freak out stuff, you've got to discharge that out of the body, okay? I personally feel like you need to do that. I don't think you should dwell on it overly, but I do think you should like dive in, like laser focus, clear that crap out of the body, and then come back up to the surface, right? And I wouldn't spend too much time down there because, you can get focused on constantly clearing things. But sometimes you really do need to look at the fear and you need to follow it all the way down to the worst thing, particularly if you're paralyzed and you like are just unable to move forward. So look at the monster under the bed. Ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen? What's the worst thing that could happen? And the client I was talking to today, she was afraid her husband would lose her job, was afraid they would lose the house and they would be destitute and they would have nowhere to live. The cards did not show that. Intuitively, I didn't feel like that would happen. My intuition was screaming at me, you need to focus on solutions. So we went into that. When you finally allow yourself to fall down to the bottom energetically, let me say this another way. You can either play out in your physical life going down to the bottom, or you can just play it out energetically and discharge that energy. Then you don't need to play it out in your physical life, okay? I hope that makes sense. So by asking yourself, well, what is the worst thing that could happen here? Well, my husband loses his job and then we don't have any income. Okay, well, then what would the worst thing be? Well, it would be 3 to 4 months and then, the mortgage company would start foreclosure. Okay, well, then what would happen? Well, Would you really be destitute? No, well, we'd have to go live with my parents. Okay, well then what would it be? Well, we'd have to live with my parents. That would be uncomfortable, and then my husband would probably get another job. Okay, was it going to get any worse than that? Well, probably not. Okay, so, you know, none of those things are ideal situations, but when you play it out like that, you realize you're not going to be starving on the street in a box. Like, you're going to be fine. You know, living at the mother-in-law's may not be the most ideal situation, but it is better than being in a box. You know what I mean? So by doing that, you can discharge the fear, and you can look at the fear and allow it to be heard, allow it to be seen, and then say, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay? Discharge it from the body. Remove it from the body. The point of looking at the monster under the bed is not to wallow under there with the monster. The point is to realize the monster's not there, and to tell the monster, you know what, you're not needed here. Please go hide under someone else's bed, because, like, you know, I got dust fuzzies under here I gotta clean up. I deserve to have a nice clean underbed. I don't know why that just came to me. But anyway, you know, when you have looked at the worst case scenario, then you are able to get out of fear. Then you are able to get out of being frozen, and then you're able to move into the next thing of like, okay, what are the solutions? I've seen what the worst case scenario is. Then personally, I like to ask, what is the best case scenario, and then play that out. Well, best case scenario is my husband gets really laser focused and gets another job. Best case scenario is I 100% completely support him in doing that. I help and I give him more confidence, and I help him complete these applications, you know, so that he can get a job as soon as possible. Best case scenario, he calls everybody he knows and tells them he's looking for another job. You know, best case scenario, a friend steps in and he gets a better job. Best case scenario, he gets a job with even more money and more benefits, etc. You know, all of these things. So when you've done that and you've gotten out of this like fear, fight, flight, frozen situation, and you're moving into like, it frees you up to move you into solutions, I guess is the whole point that it's taken me 7 minutes to get to, is that now you're going to be in a situation where you're focused more on solutions. So a few years ago, I was very, very ill. Had Epstein-Barr, was so sick, I've gotten over that. Now, at the time, I was just starting to work again. I hadn't worked for a year. It was really bad. But anyway, like, I needed to leave the situation I was in. I needed to move 5 states. I had no money to move 5 states, and I was able to work, but like barely, right? Like eating, you know, doing basic functions in life and working was like hard at that time. So I played out all the worst case scenarios, discharged all that from the body, and then I was like, okay, all right, now that I've seen that, I'm not going to die in the street. I'll just be unhappy. Okay, so now that we've like gotten through that, you know, I'm not going to die. Then what I was like, okay, what are the solutions? What are the choices? What would make it so that I could easily move back? Well, I need a job. Okay, so job number 1. Number 2, what else do I need? Well, I need money to move back. That's number 2. All right, so the next thing I was like, well, I need an apartment when I move back. I was like, well, I don't have anywhere to stay. And I was like, okay. And I was like, universe. I was like, this is what I need. And I remember I had a snooze. My desire was so strong. And then I went to bed and I went into this like whole reverie / like vivid dream. And I saw my situation and where I was physically. And I saw like these strings connect back to where I live, right? Back home, 5 states away. And I saw those strings and I moved myself energetically through the string 5 states away. You know, I saw obviously a map of America. I saw where I was, and then I moved on the string over the map of America back to where I live, my home, where I wanted to go back to. And I saw myself move in there, and then I grounded my energy into the ground. And then I saw my favorite street that I used to live on. And I saw this house that was cute next to the coffee shop that I always drive by. I just randomly picked that house, and I grounded my energy into that house. It was a rental, and it's not like I needed to live in that specific house, but I really remember I was so happy when I used to live on that street. So I ground my energy into the house. I moved into the house. I did the visualization. I created a grounding cord for me. I created a grounding cord for the house. And then I knew that I needed money. So I started seeing coins everywhere, and I started seeing money come down from the ceiling. And I opened up the closets, and money poured out of the closets. And I walked outside, and I saw roses coming out of the ground, and inside the roses were silver coins and gold coins and wallets. I saw wallets too, even though I don't even use a wallet. So I just started feeling all of these like plants growing, right? The plants represent opportunities, which I didn't think about at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, yeah, that's what it represented. So I saw all this money coming out of the plants and money coming out of the closets and money dropping out of the ceiling fan. And I just walked in the house and I saw money everywhere. There were so many gold coins. It kind of reminded me of like, what was that cartoon, DuckTales? I used to watch that as a child, where like the ducks are like jumping through the money. And I just felt in my body how it would feel to have so much money everywhere, just coming out of the kitchen cabinets. Like it's just flowing, right? And then I made grounding cords for all of the money. And I just felt the sun on my face, and I felt how good it felt to be there. And then my car, I mentally moved my car 5 states, and I grounded my car down into the earth where I live, right? And then I energetically moved my stuff through the cord and put all the stuff where it goes and make grounding cords for all the stuff and moved it there. And I just, in my mind, I just saw everything move, and I saw the money pouring down. And then when I woke up, it just downloaded into my head, oh, I know what I need to do. I need to, a specific person that I knew, I was like, I need to call her and ask her if I can have a job. She'll hire me, for sure. She'll definitely hire me. Like, she's one of my friends. She's a manager somewhere. She's going to hire me. It'll be fine. So I did. I was like, hey, I need a job. I'm coming home in a few weeks. Like, is there an opening? And she's like, oh, yeah, you just show up when you get here. Let me know. Have you filled paperwork? Yeah, you're good. I'll hire you. It's like, perfect, right? That hadn't occurred to me until I had discharged the fear out of my body and then made energetic cords from where I was to where I wanted to be, and I moved myself in my car and all the stuff, etc., right? Second thing that occurred to me, I thought, oh my goodness, that client I used to have, because I used to do website work, YouTube videos and like stuff like that, and auctions. I used to do auctions too. This person was a real estate person. I was like, oh, I'm going to call him. I know he has a huge house. I know he's not in that house. So I know he's in Florida. I was like, maybe he'll let me stay in that house. Hopefully he still has the house. It's a gigantic, sprawling, split-level house. All right. I email him. I was like, hey, I really need help. Do you think I could stay at your house for like a month while I get myself together? You know, I'm going to come home in a few weeks. And he, emails me back. He's like, oh yeah, that's sure. You can stay in the extra bedroom. Ironically, he already had someone else staying in one of the extra bedrooms. There was a 3-bedroom house. His kids were already grown and all that. So there was a family friend already staying there. He's like, yeah, you can stay in the other bedroom, da da da. I was like, okay, fabulous. Thank you so much. And then so within 24 hours, I had a job and I had a place to stay. I was like, oh, the angels have come out, right? So then I told my aunt, whom I was staying with, I was like, hey, I've got a job, I've got a place to stay, like I'm all like set to leave. I just gotta like give notice at my job and like pack all my stuff up and put it in the U-Haul and tow my car. And she was like, great. She's like, I'll pay for the U-Haul for you. I was like, fabulous, thank you, because I didn't have $1,000 for that. So she paid for the U-Haul for me, and I packed everything up, and at the allotted time, 3 weeks later, I put everything in the car, and I drove up. I had my friend meet me in the parking lot to help me, like, get situated, because I had the car, anyway, you guys don't need to know all the logistics of that, but whatever. I returned the U-Haul, my friend was there to help me, and then I, like, had my car, because it had been on a tow, and yeah, it was perfect. Like, I put my stuff in my friend's basement so that I didn't have to buy a storage unit temporarily, and then I just moved myself and the things I had in my car with my friend who's in real estate, stayed in that extra bedroom. 2 days later, I went in to talk to my friend. She hired me. I got started that next week, and like everything just worked out. So a month prior, it had been like this difficult, hopeless situation that I couldn't begin to figure out. And then I just decided, I can't live like this. I can't deal with this. I'm not willing to be in this sort of situation anymore. And it was like, the sword went down. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is absurd. This is ridiculous. So I put my foot down, decided it was going to change. And then I was like, what do I need to do? And I was like, I need to discharge this fear and paralyzation out of my body. I need to take it all the way down. Worst case, worst case, worst case, worst case. Look at what I don't want to look at. Look at the monster under the bed. Say, thank you very much. Your services are no longer needed. Please escort yourself on the way from under my bed, metaphorically. And then I was able to get into solution mode. It was able to break the paralyzation, which is then when I had the reverie, and then when I energetically grounded myself in my home where I live. And I've been fine since. So yeah, if you're in this position, you know, everything I just said, that's my message for you today. You do not have to stay in a downward spiral. Things do not have to get worse. You don't have to keep focusing on how it's going to be tragic, okay? Just give yourself an hour to go all the way down to the bottom. Let it get as tragic as possible, and then don't look at it again, all right? But if you're going to do that, and you're going to do it once, do it like really well. Like really get into like the fears and the worst possible thing, and then like what would be worse than that and what would be worse than that, and then you'll feel free. Okay, I really do suggest giving yourself a set amount of time to do that, and then like move on to something else. Like when you decide to do something, it's going to take as much time as you allow it, so don't spend all day wallowing. But I mean, if you need a day, I guess take it, but really you'd be like, okay, I'm going to spend an hour and I'm just going to go to the bottom, release it, let go, cut cords, cut cords, cut cords, cut cords to the fear, cut cords to the situation, cut cords to the helplessness, cut cords to the being frozen, cut cords to being a victim, slash all that stuff. Slash all that stuff, and then move into what you want. You want to create a business? Visualize the business, visualize it being grounded. You want certain kinds of clients? Visualize the clients, ground the clients, ground yourself. You want a new house? Visualize that house, ground that house. Put yourself energetically in that house, ground your energy through the house. You want the money for the house? Energetically bring the money into the house, ground it down, ground it down, ground it down. Create it, bring it into form, okay? And then feel it in your body. And if you need to do it like multiple days, close your eyes, see yourself in the house, ground the money into the house, ground yourself into the money in the house. Like, keep doing it. It is going to switch. I only needed to do it once. I went to like a really, really deep hypnotic state. But even if you don't reach a really, really deep hypnotic state, still, it has effect. It alters your reality. You change all the quantum particles around you, and then your whole reality shifts, right? And then it's different. And then that's how you create a quantum shift. It's because you change the light and information inside you, and then your whole reality rotates around to reflect the new person that you have been. Very simple. All right, so my message for you today is you can do it. You don't need to be in fear. You don't need to be frozen. You can change the situation, okay? Take back your power. Look at the fear, bottom it out, send the fear on its way, move into solution mode, connect yourself into the solution, ground yourself, okay? You can totally do that. You can totally 100% do that, okay? That is what wanted to flow through me today. That is my love message for you today. And yeah, if you guys have like comments, concerns, questions, whatever, write it down below. Like, have you done something really cool like that before? Or are you going through something like, just, I don't know, tell me all the cool things, anything that occurs to you. I like reading you guys' comments. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Bye.